What's up, guys? It's TechnoViking23 coming to you today with a little bit of discussion about Mass Effect Andromeda. And today I'm going to be talking about how I've suddenly become a little wary of this game and how I'm no longer really as super excited for it as I was before. Now, you guys know me. I'm a huge Mass Effect fan. I'm a huge BioWare fan. Really love a lot of their games, going all the way back to Knights of the Old Republic. That's pretty much what got everything started off with BioWare for me. Really enjoy their games, love their RPGs, love the way they weave the story with the characters and everything. But I think a lot of us can agree that things at BioWare have been steadily going downhill for the past couple of years, the past few releases. Now, I am going to talk about Dragon Age Inquisition a little bit here because I think it's going to play an important role in the upcoming Andromeda game. And now, first off, I do like Dragon Age Inquisition. However, it is the first Dragon Age game I've ever played, and some people I've talked to tell me that I'd probably have a different opinion of it if I had played some of the earlier Dragon Age games, and I'm willing to accept that. But I still do very much enjoy Dragon Age Inquisition. It's really hard for me to ever complain about a game that I get at least 80 hours plus of content out of in one playthrough, and I'm still not even finished with the game. It's probably going to take me at least 100 hours to finish my first playthrough of all the DLC and everything since I bought Game of the Year Edition. And for that matter alone, I think Dragon Age Inquisition is a quality game. I think it's very well done. I like the characters in the game. I like the main story of the game. But it does also have some glaring issues that I've seen as I continue to play more and more. The first time I kind of played through the game, or as I'm going through my first playthrough, there was kind of this awe and this wonder about, oh, it's this massive open RPG. I can go all over the place. I can do all kinds of these fetch quests and see how they affect the world, do these things from the war room table. But as I play and continue to play on, I start to see a little bit of the flaws in that system. And the reason I want to talk about this is because it appears to me that Mass Effect Andromeda is going to be borrowing quite a bit from Dragon Age Inquisition. Recently, Game Informer was able to go to BioWare and came out with a lot of knowledge about the game. They got to see some gameplay. They got to play the game. They have a very in-depth article about it in their magazine, which I have read thoroughly several times. And there's some things I'm just really concerned about, because one of the main things they mentioned when they came out of the studio is they said this feels a little bit like Dragon Age Inquisition, which I've said in the past, though I enjoy Dragon Age Inquisition, don't get Dragon Age Inquisition on my Mass Effect. And that appears to be what may happen with Andromeda. Now, I've also done a video about the multiplayer, which I'll upload later. I really actually am excited for the multiplayer because it seems like they're taking what they built with Mass Effect 3 and just expanding on it and making it much better. And it's actually, I'm more excited for that than I am the campaign of this game. So let's get into why. The first thing are some comments that some of the developers at BioWare have made about Andromeda. They've said they want to make it more action-oriented, which anytime I hear that with an RPG game, I immediately assume it's going to be dumbed down for a more broad audience versus having that core RPG experience that a lot of us came to love with the Mass Effect games. You saw a little bit of this with Mass Effect 2, where they went to more of an action combat style versus the more role-playing game that Mass Effect was. And even in Mass Effect 3, it got a little bit more action-oriented. However, I think the combat system definitely could be improved. If when they say action-oriented, they're referring to that. That's a good idea. I don't think in this day and age with the new consoles and PCs that you can have the whole let's pause the game with the little wheel to pick our power. I think that has gotten a little old and just used a little too often. And they've mentioned that they are trying to make the combat a little more seamless, just like it is in the multiplayer. They wanted to start with the multiplayer in Mass Effect 3 and make that more of the basis for how the game would play. So I guess that's a good thing on one point. That does not sound too much like Dragon Age, because the combat in Dragon Age Inquisition was rather flat and kind of boring. I didn't really enjoy it all that much. It seemed like more of a chore than it did anything else. But I still don't want them to go away from the core aspects that make Mass Effect the game that it is. Now, they have added in the jetpack, which seems like it's going to add some verticality and allow you to take different paths when you go on, which I think is a good thing, because people always were wondering why Shepard is an N7, but he can't jump. It seemed kind of weird through the 3 games, but we'll see how that plays out. But just the way they talk about the world, they've talked about how there's going to be these open planets, these very open spaces that you'll go through them. There's going to be side quests. There's going to be giant monsters that you can fight, and they said at some points in time you may not be able to kill them. You'll have to come back later. To me, that sounds identical to the dragons in Dragon Age Inquisition. You'll come across them, you might not be able to defeat them, so you'll come back later on. They are taking weapons away from the Nomad, which is kind of the vehicle like the Mako. There won't be any combat when you're driving around in the Mako, which I think is a hugely wasted opportunity. And what they were saying is they said it's just too hard for them to develop two combat systems to use for the Mako and also for the main game, which I think is complete nonsense. You were able to do it with the original Mass Effect game. You had combat in the Mako and other combat as well, though a lot of people don't like the Mako. Some of us love it, some of us hate it, but either way, they were able to work two systems into the game, and why they cannot do that in 2016 on next-gen consoles and high-powered PCs really baffles me a little bit. But it seems that there's going to be a more open-world approach. You're going to be able to land on these big planets and drive around. Like I said, there's going to be giant monsters. We saw some of those in the trailers. And that has me a little concerned because Dragon Age Inquisition was this huge open world experience. The problem was, after a while, it felt really boring and really empty. There wasn't much to do there. And they mentioned how in Andromeda you're going to go to planets, there's going to be different factions, different alien races there, and they may be patrolling around, you do something for one race and it wipes out the other race, or it clears the map of that one thing, and you're going to go through the map and clear out little areas, and you're going to actually set up base camps and colonies and things. And when I hear that, it reminds me a ton of Dragon Age Inquisition. I mean, I remember going through the first initial zones, and you would fight one faction, and then they would vanish from the map entirely, and then you would set up, your little campgrounds. They were always marked on the map. You would set up your campgrounds, which became your spawn points all over the map. And it just, everything I read about Andromeda seems to be exactly what was used in Dragon Age Inquisition, and that's, like I said, is very concerning because there's a lot of really weak things in Dragon Age Inquisition. I never really felt like the characters in Inquisition were done as well as the characters in Mass Effect either. The dialogue was a little bit weaker. There were some decent characters in the game. Like, I thought Dorian was really well done, but there were other characters that just really annoyed me, and just overall I didn't feel like they acted like they should. But I'm a huge Mass Effect fan, so when I try to compare other games, story and character-wise, sometimes in my mind they don't add up. But I think this is all very concerning for Andromeda's development, just seeing so many similarities to what happened in Inquisition. Now, if they can actually do what they did in Inquisition, but get it right this time, and actually have a lively open world that feels really good, that'll be a good thing, and I'm going to give them the opportunity to do so. I think that is something they should be able to do at this point. They know everything that they've done wrong with Mass Effect through the ending of Mass Effect 3 and also with Dragon Age Inquisition, because people have complained about it at length, so hopefully they have enough feedback to where they can make it a really enjoyable experience overall. And then getting back to the thing where they said we want to make it more action-oriented, they're also getting rid of the Paragon and Renegade system, which is something that's been a kind of a hallmark of a lot of BioWare games. And they're going to go to more of an open dialogue system. They said you'll still be able to do things that are similar, where you can have your person be a jerk without, but it's not, overall it's not going to affect the main story and the main choices. I got to be honest, I'm not super excited about this. I know a lot of people don't like the Renegade Paragon system. Some people think it's antiquated and it should go. But I personally really like it. One of the things that's been so enjoyable about the Mass Effect trilogy for me is that I've been able to play the game through, I've played through Mass Effect 1 and 2 5 times. I'm on my 3rd playthrough of Mass Effect 3. Every single time I've played the game, I've been able to have a 50 to 60 hour experience per game that's been completely different because of the choices I've made, whether it's Paragon or Renegade. And even some games where I do a mixture of Paragon and Renegade. I have not had one exact playthrough any time, and it feels so great because the characters, they interact with you a different way. The game changes in different ways. Mass Effect 3, of course, does unfortunately undoes a lot of that, but it's still a very enjoyable experience to go through and do something completely different. Like if you want to go through and play just a complete jerk-face Renegade playthrough, you're able to do that. And the system in Dragon Age Inquisition is more along the lines of what they're suggesting for Andromeda, where it's more of this like sliding scale where you get reputation and ranking with people, and that opens up dialogue options, and it just doesn't have the same appeal to me. And like I said, the more I read about Andromeda, the more it seems like they're taking a lot from Dragon Age Inquisition, and I don't think that's going to be a good thing for a sci-fi game. It works in Dragon Age to an extent. I've already covered the areas where I think it's weak, like just having this big empty open world that doesn't feel important, doesn't feel like you're connected to it. And if that's something they don't get right with Andromeda, it's going to be really hard for the game to pick up and for people to be interested in it. So that's the thing. There's also some other signs that EA's got their fingerprints on this. You look at some of the pre-order bonuses for this game, and there's all these different versions that are really expensive, and really the only thing you seem to gain from them are getting additional multiplayer packs, which I think is ridiculous. I don't like the way they're focusing on multiplayer as pre-order bonuses. That's usually a bad sign in general. Although, reading what they're changing with the multiplayer, I'm actually kind of excited for it. It seems like it's going to be Mass Effect 3 with a ton of improvements, which I'm really looking forward to, because Mass Effect 3 multiplayer has been a really enjoyable experience, and it's something I've played, for 4 years now, and a lot of people are still playing it, still enjoying it. It's an amazing co-op experience, and if they can improve it and expand upon it and make it better, that's going to be awesome, I think. But overall, that's why I'm kind of concerned with Andromeda. I'm not going to pre-order it. I just don't see anything with the bonuses that's worth it, but I am going to be paying attention to all the news coming out with it. I will probably get the game. My debate right now is if I want to get it for PC or for console. Obviously, I would like to get it for PC since I've got my gaming PC now, and I'm really enjoying PC gaming. But at the same time, a lot of my friends who play Mass Effect are still on console, and if I'm going to do multiplayer, I want to be able to team up with them and enjoy that and play with them. So that is something I'm considering. It has nothing to do with console, PC being better than one or the other. I'm not one of those types of people. I understand PC is definitely probably the superior platform for playing games on, but I'm not going to rub it in your face or try to start some kind of console war. If you need to buy the game on console to enjoy it with your friends, that's just your preference. That's perfectly fine, and that's kind of the debate I'm having with myself right now on whether I want to get Andromeda for PC or for the console. But either way, guys, let me know if you've read through the information in Game Informer. Let me know what you think so far about what's going on with Mass Effect Andromeda. If you're afraid it's going to be too much like Dragon Age, or if you're just not that interested in it, or if you're still super excited for the game. Either way, I'd love to hear your comments. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys are having a great day. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you again next time.